Hello and welcome to our daily sketching routine. It is Saturday, May 24th, 2025, and today's topic I'm going to call Keeping a Sketchbook. I'd been meaning to do a video like this for a while. Part of it was because this is my current sketchbook, this one. I've recently completed it, although I'm going back in and filling in the blanks. Currently, this is what I have, and I had more. I had to get rid of some I lost for different reasons, and I'll kind of go over that. I'm obviously not going to go into too much like personal detail. However, it is part of keeping a sketchbook, and it is part of the artist's journey. But yeah, before we begin, welcome back if you're returning, welcome if you're new to the channel. I usually sketch and post every day, and I use timers to stay focused and to build a habit, so I'll keep that going because it helps me to see how long these videos are, except that this one, I'm not sure how long it's going to be since it's mostly going to be sort of talking about stuff. I'm not going to sketch anything. So to begin with, I'll just kind of go over what they are, like what the sketchbooks are. These two are moleskins, and this is like a pocket, and this is sort of a, I don't know what size it is, but portable. This one is my current one, and it's this test booklet. So this isn't really like a tour. This is going to be, I'll show some of the stuff. Most of everything that's in here are in the videos, but this is like a test booklet that I made at a bindery job, and I'll kind of talk about that kind of stuff also. This one is like Artist Loft, which I believe is from like Michael's craft store. A lot of these are actually in the videos. This is like a practice sketchbook, Canson. I'll also talk about the kind of my experience with it, and also like the tools that I use. And this is just a binder that I mentioned that you can, if you do stuff on like loose paper, you can just put it in like plastic sleeves. So that's where I keep this kind of stuff. That's what I've got so far. And I have like these big, what do I call it, like pads of paper, like newsprint and Bristol and stuff, but those are for different things. They're not sketchbooks. I'm going to go in chronological order. I have journals, so the channel's not about keeping journals. I could have called it like keeping journals and sketchbooks, but I'm going to call this keeping a sketchbook. But they kind of go together. And I've done a couple of videos kind of like this where I go through it. I have a video where I went through this sketchbook, and then I have a video going through like my more current ones. So this sketchbook, it began in 2016. It went all the way up till, I believe, at least 2020. This isn't really going to be like a tour per se, although it's really about like keeping sketchbooks and the experience of that and like the journey that goes with that. I have some journals that are moleskins, kind of like this, where yeah, like I journaled and then I would start to sketch, and I found I have one of these, but this used to be like, I think pretty much like this whole sketchbook was done with like these precise. I still like them, and it goes really well with like this paper, although it's pretty thin. Like using this pen and then like this paper, it helped me to just kind of go over like basic art, and also just using a pen without a pencil, and also to get back into drawing again, because during this time period I had either been blocked for various reasons or like not able to do it and like wanting to get back into it. I was doing these like studies of my foot. So part of this is like just getting back into, so this is like observational. So it says here 2017. So sometimes all I could do, so at the time I was like doing these jobs that wasn't art related. I'd come home and I would just sketch something. And then I started to get more into like drawing from imagination and working on like world building. So this character shows up a lot in my work, but like back in 2017, this is kind of what I was doing. And yeah, I would just do like studies. So sometimes I would just kind of have an idea. So this is from life. Art for me is like just more than coming up with a nice looking picture. It's also being able to draw from life and just having an idea and like the idea of having like an inner compass, and it just helps me to connect my thoughts and what I care about with a drawing. So sometimes I would do, I called it like a shamanic journey, where I use sketching to kind of represent like how I was feeling. So on this page was just like just from reference, but this is 2020, so there was kind of a big jump in between these pages. But yeah, sometimes all I could do, so here you can see it says like 4/1/20, then 4/2 and 4/3. So sometimes that was all I could do or had time for, or like, yeah, like even today, like I'm not sketching right now, so I'm still gonna do like a 5-minute sketch. Like you'll see there's these pages where that's pretty much all I did, were just studies from life. And then good old horse study. Again, the main thing was just to draw with a pen. That was like part of it. Not just like to get back into it, but also just to practice drawing like straight to like pen. So a lot of horses. So that was really what this sketchbook was about. So moleskin with a precise rollerball. And then the next sketchbook would have been this one. So this is like a moleskin, but it is a pocket size, so I could fit it into my, like take it to work with me. So you'll see that this one says like 2022. And I made some videos because that's when I started the channel, but there was still a lot of resistance. It was easier for me to do art or to like sketch. One, I was still working at jobs where, yeah, I had to like carry a pocket in order to like work on it during the day. Well, that was one thing. I would come home, but I would be so tired and I wanted to do a little bit like more sketching. So I wanted to always kind of have like a sketchbook like with me. So really that's what this one was about, was just to do it more often and do it more like kind of spontaneously. This is a bat. And also wanting to get more into like the concept art. I've done like some videos on this sketchbook, but this one was really about starting the channel and recording videos while sketching. So that was like the challenge with this one. But I was still kind of dealing with resistance. I liked the pocket sketchbook size so that I could just focus on a page, but it wouldn't be like so much space. Pretty much sticking with just pen. So in this one, I'll kind of do this flip through here. I mean, I don't feel like these are meant to be masterpieces or finished pieces or anything, but one thing I did want to mention was that on some of these, you could do the back. So for some reason I started, well, part of it was because of the thin paper on the previous sketchbook. I wouldn't draw like on the back, although I kind of want to go back and do that. So on some of these, I just wanted to at least do one of these like pages a day and just kind of get over the perfectionism, honestly, and also to maintain the habit. And yet sometimes you feel pretty stuck, but you just do it. So that's the thing. This is about kind of the symbolism. Like my thing is to somehow bridge the gap between looking at reference but also drawing from imagination. Like there's a kind of magic to it. Like sometimes it's a little too abstract, but like sometimes, so yeah, it's just kind of like mixing the stuff from imagination with reference, but then also like study, like anatomy, but then also like the style. And of course just adding stuff like animals, which I'm not around a lot of animals, but I find them very interesting. So some of these I made videos, like this frog from the early days. this page, this is the last one. I made very detailed, like a video series on it. So this was kind of the next sketchbook that I used, and I have videos about a lot of like what's in here. So I had this at some point when I was using these, I was still like, I mean, all of these basically I was working at like different jobs like over the years. Sometimes the jobs would be like factory work or restaurant work, like that kind of thing. Because I always wanted to come back to this. It's just life is the way that it is sometimes. And so in this one, I started going more towards world building. So you can see this is 2024. I don't think I made videos about this one, but this was starting to go towards making like my daily videos that I do. Now this sketchbook I actually had, so I did this sketch in 2018, so I had it back in 2018, and literally for years this was like the only sketch. I know it doesn't really fit the camera, but that's okay. Again, it's not really meant to be a tour, but so in 2018 I was still kind of doing this sort of thing, kind of like comic book, but literally this was the only page. And I would be, at the time I was working at a restaurant. So around this time period, so I really loved the art for Sleeping Beauty, but I did a video on this, I think, around this time period. So I put 7/8/24. So some of the thinner lines. So I still really like these pens, by the way, the rollerball, because of the way that I sketch. Like it doesn't, the flow is good. But I started going more into like the felt tip, so I believe like that's what this is right here. And for all of these sketchbooks, I'm not really that picky about it per se. Like I wasn't trying to get like a particular brand. These were just the ones that I had. I don't really have any complaints about like the paper, other than sometimes it would, like this one for example, I actually could draw on the back of it, and I probably will, but I don't know if I'll do videos about that. Like, but I'll probably go back and like draw stuff. So I was thinking how, again, most of this sketchbook is from last year or 2024, and then I've made videos about like a lot of the stuff in this. So I made a video about like this page, for example. So this is what I mean by like keeping a work sketchbook. So this is like a lot of the stuff that I was doing. A lot of head construction. Again, this isn't really meant to be a sketchbook tour, but you'll get a little bit of that. Some character ideas. And at first, so like around last year, before I started getting back into making videos, I would just kind of draw and like post it. Like I still have my website, but I didn't renew the domain name or anything. And yeah, sometimes I would still do like the thing where my requirement for myself was just to do like a certain amount of, for stuff like this, I usually would just set a timer to like count up, like however long it took. So this is what I mean when I say like just kind of do studies. It depends on how much studies, and like some of it you'll remember and some of it you'll have to go back. Stuff like this. But like the main thing is just like, that's kind of what I mean. At the time, like this was still kind of the issue. Was just sort of sketching a little bit every day. So some pages are like a mixture of doing the studies and then moving into like the character design, kind of like this. And moving a little bit more into, well, the concept art, but also the like comic kind of thing. Some of these I made videos, some I didn't. It's like a more cartoony, like style exploration. Now, a lot of that, like stuff like this, like there's books that sort of like they tell you, but then you also have to experiment with like your own kind of what works for you. So like on this page, I was practicing not only world building, but also the composition, like kind of a collage kind of thing that I like to do. And then also just sketching without like a pencil drawing. These are for like my book series, but I don't talk about all the details because basically, like for example, by the time I'm showing it like this, like I feel pretty okay about it, but like if it's still incubating, it's a little too like too early. Kind of like with this, like I don't know that I did a video of this, but like sometimes you'll sketch something and it doesn't work because like I'm doing this straight to ink, and so like it doesn't work out. But then you can come back in and draw it better. So on pages like this, you'll notice that, I mean, there's still a lot of, I can go back and like draw in this, which I will actually, because I don't want to waste paper. But like on stuff like this, I probably wouldn't go back and mess with it. I would just leave it. And then yeah, I could still use this side. So more studies. So basically for the rest of this sketchbook, I made videos. So for example, I made videos about this kind of thing. Some maps, because I want to create a world map. There's like another character study. So then the next one is this artist loft, which is kind of a generic brand from the craft store. I would say that this sketchbook is not my favorite. I had it, so I was going to use it anyway. So this is the kind of, again, I'm not going to really do a tour of this, but a lot of this sketchbook, I did make videos. This was like the majority, so it says here 7/30/24. So this is when I was posting like pretty much every day. The paper's not bad, so I was doing a lot of this, and then I could actually go back and draw on this other side because I had the habit of not doing that, but this one I could. And like I was saying, it might be a good idea to do that because this is from last year, and so you could take like what you learned like right here and just use this space for it. So this one I could pretty much like flip through it and it'll be something that I did a video on or like similar to it. So just like expressions. This one I did a post where I was kind of wanting to get into like work on like color style, but then also digital art. Like I wanted to have like the line art, and then which is still something I'm experimenting with like the coloring. So that's really what this sketchbook is. It's just like studies. I did videos about like this. Here's some like getting more into like colors. So yeah, pretty much everything in here was I did videos about. So you can see that that's a lot of videos. And then this is like the current one. And there's not too many pages, maybe 100 pages. It's an interesting one because I was needing a new sketchbook, but I had this, and this is one of those test booklets that I've talked about from an old job that I had. I actually really like the paper. I'm surprised. I guess because it was made to be printed, like booklets and stuff, where you like send out at like the job that I had. And so it looks good on like certain ink. So like this ink looks pretty good with it. Pretty much everything in here, I'm not going to like, yeah, it's not a sketchbook flip through. However, I did videos pretty much like every day with, there might be some things that that I didn't do a video about, but like pretty much I did a video on all these pages. This one was interesting because it has a lot more color work, so that was kind of the big thing. Also, like a test comic, I was like getting back into drawing comics. So yeah, I think a lot more like mediums and a lot more like subject matter. Sort of getting back into like illustration work also. And this is probably one of my favorite sketchbooks, honestly. Just because of the progress. Because at this point, yeah, I've been doing like videos and sketching every day. And just like being able to just come up with ideas and draw it. So I just wanted to share that and to kind of show like how I did it. And there's still a lot more. And like I was saying, so on this paper, I'm not quite as in love with like drawing on the other side, so I don't know. If I did, it would be like with maybe a pen that, like it would work with like the precise, so I could see how like the roller ball wouldn't go through. So I might go back but I'm actually currently still going back, and like some of these things I actually do want to detail, but a lot of times with sketchbooks, I don't really like to go back and draw like old pictures, and that's kind of what I mean. It helps you to get over like perfectionism, and also it lets you see the steps and like the progress. So like I wouldn't necessarily, and plus like the mood of it, like that was like the mood of the piece. So yeah, you could always go back and detail it. Just like this, I had in my mind like I would go back and detail it, but I don't know that I will, because one, it shows the mood that I was in and the amount of time that it takes, and also the it could look good. Some of these I don't think I did a video of this part, maybe this part. So sometimes the idea is to, especially these days, is to like do a video, but I also just sketch stuff that I want to sketch like on my own time. It's kind of I'm still learning about that, the whole process of it. So for example, like some of the other sketchbooks, I might go back in and just sketch stuff like for myself, obviously. This is the last page of this one. So I just keep these in a binder. Like I did a video about drawing like this horse, and I did a color, playing around with color, self-portrait. So I just keep these in sleeves, and I mean they're good character sheets, like style guides. So I made videos about these. I know that that's kind of a lot of stuff. Hopefully it was interesting and helpful. And yeah, it's like an ongoing journey and process. That'll be it for today. I want to thank you for joining me. And if you enjoy these videos, please support the channel. I appreciate it. And until next time, keep on sketching.